Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well today. Apologies if my voice sounds a little off. I'm getting over a cold still, but I wanted to get this recorded. So here we are, and it's not scripted, and you'll be able to tell. Anyway, this is me needle felting my sister's dog Moose. We had to say goodbye to him earlier this year, and I was already kind of planning on making him, but it was even more important for me to be able to do this for her and her husband. So here's me making the body. As usual, I go straight for like a cylinder, even though I really shouldn't. Especially as I get more into anatomy, there's a lot more nuance that I should do right at the get-go. But we cylindered, and then that little circle to the side is the beginnings of his head. So this beginning part, you use something called core wool. It's cheaper than the nicer stuff. It's more rough, so it felts faster. That's typically what you use for your middle, like the inside of your sculptures. I spent a lot of time in this part looking at pose references. I found this 3D dog, which is very handy. So yeah. This is me working on the legs, trying to get them right. Using too much core wool. At some point, yep, right there, I realized that looked like a face, so I made it smile. In this first part, every time I pause the recording, it zoomed back out. So apologies for those little woo-woo, because that happens sometimes. Yeah, leggies. Oh, and here's the start of the arms. Almost done working for the day, so I kind of just slap it all onto the body to be a little silly. So it was like that weird lemur version for a while, because I was procrastinating and doing other stuff, and then I got sick. So that was fun. So whenever I was able to be up, I was working on Moose here. Here's me felting the nicer black wool, the carded wool, onto the legs, the front legs. And kind of poking the body some more, covering up the back legs with the black fur. I used black core wool here for some reason, which I'll cover up later with the nicer stuff, but I really should just use the nicer stuff at this point. Yeah, then I have the neck. Here's me working on the head, changing it from just an orb to, well, it's still an orb, but then I make the ears using that stencil, along with the bottom jaw, because I decided, well, the bottom jaw is normal, normal for you to make, but at some point I do decide I can make his tongue sticking out. There's something a little, that'd be a little cute. Luckily I had the correct pink for a tongue, because I was not planning on the tongue, and I did not have time to order pink. I did not have the right pink. It was like a random sample the seller had sent me at some point, so that was nice. And then the snoot to the head. Now it actually looks like a dog head, a little bit more. I was feeling pretty good about the head at that point. And then I was finished for a bit, and came back to it. We're back to the head, because I was feeling good about the head. And at some point, I don't really remember when, I realized that the body was just too thick. So, I was dreading having to try to stab that to skinnierness. It was too big for the head I had made, and I already put in way too much work into the head to redo it, so I wasn't going to. So the body had to get smaller. And I was doing really detailed work there, so apologies for the popping out of frame there for a bit. I'll do that again. Yeah, working on the ear some more. And then I was really working off a specific picture, so I was trying to make the ears kind of poke out to the side a little, like how they sometimes do. And here's me picking the eyes, picking some nice pretty brown eyes, and I didn't really like how they looked. So I took them out and moved on back to the front legs for a bit. Really felting them in and getting them ready. Attached. I just haven't done the paws on those yet. Here's me covering the body with the nicer carded black wool. Again, this is not scripted, so you could turn off the audio at any point. Anyway, yeah. Poking up that leg, nice and sturdy and felted. Working on the body again, hoping it works out well. Oh, and here's his tail. I'm starting that tail. The tail went very well. Nice and simple. Lots of rolling to get it, circular. Oh boy. Really working on the paws now. It's a little tricky because they're just a little nub. Trying to make them the same as well. The front legs were nice. They went well. It was the back legs and the body. It's a little bit of trouble for me. Oh, here's where I add his pretty white chest mark. I was pretty proud of how well I did that. And it was kind of sad when I had to cover up a little bit with his legs. Yeah, so I happened to have a really good picture. Purposely took reference pictures at some point. I could do that. And I think I did really well. That's probably my favorite part. His little star shape. Body's coming together. I'm attaching the front legs. And then I have to blend them into the body. Try to add some of those shoulders. I need to practice on. I need to practice actual anatomy if I want to make them more realistic. I like how they're still a little, not cartoony, but a little non-realistic. But it's also nice to be a little more realistic. Especially as I get better with heads. The body's gonna have to match, or it's just not gonna look good. Anyway. I'm really working on that body. Attach the tail. At some point in here, I'm despairing about said body. But I add he has a little bit of white on some of his paws, so I added that. And then back to the head. Like earlier, I didn't really like the plastic eyes, so I tried needle felting eyes. But as I worked on them, they were just creepy, so I had to pull them out, and I went back to the plastic eyes. So yeah, and then I despaired and cuddled Luna for a while, and my brother came home, This was day of the gift giving, guys. Yeah, but Jaden, my brother came home and he's. I like asking him when I know I'm going crazy and not seeing things right. He's like, "Oh, just add the eyebrows and it'll be fine." I'm like, "Oh, you're so right, the eyebrows." So once I added those brow bones, those eyes were way less weird, and I'm so happy. Gotta add a little bit of white that was on his nose and chin. I'm attaching the head here and blending it into the rest of the body. And then at some point during the project, I'm like, ooh, I could add his collar as a cute little bit of color in there. And now it's also luckily had that pretty close shade of green. I was very happy I was able to add that, nice little touch. And then I added like a little black buckle as a way to hide where the two ends came together. I could have done that a little better, but I was out of time. And then I move on to trimming all the loose fibers as much as I can, just to make it look a little more neat. I do that with all my projects. And it takes quite a bit of time, but I think it's worth it. And so here's some pictures of the actual thing so you can see them a little better, with a couple different angles. This one's actually one of my favorite angles because you can actually see the nose shape. It's hard to take pictures of just a black project. But yeah, there he is. Moose.